Nestled in the northeastern corner of Iowa, an 8,500-acre forest holds many secrets and insights to Iowa's natural and human past. Come along with Notes on Iowa as we explore the Yellow River State Forest. 6 main units, Paint Creek, Paint Rock, Waukon Junction, Luster Heights, Mud Hen, and Yellow River, make up the Yellow River State Forest. Other parcels, including the Lost 40, are being added to the park, but these units stretch across the Paleozoic plateau of 7 different Iowa counties: Allamakee, Clayton, Fayette, Winneshiek, Howard, Dubuque, and Jackson. Most visitors go to the Paint Creek unit, a 5,237-acre unit located 15 miles north of Marquette on State Highway 76. Many go for the camping in 4 different units. The Little Paint, Big Paint, Creekside Equestrian, and Frontier Equestrian campgrounds allow visitors to stay within the park and are all connected to over 40 miles of trails that go throughout the park. Many people go for the fishing, including 7 miles of trout fishing in Little Paint and Big Paint creeks, and these creeks are stocked with rainbow and brook trout, although people also do fish for bass and panfish. All 8,900 acres of the Yellow River State Forest, except campgrounds, are entered for hunting, and many hunt white-tailed deer, turkeys, squirrels, rabbits, waterfowl, or upland game birds. Many go for the scenery, including the Larkin Overlook, named for the Larkin family who owned a farm below the observation point, or the Little Paint Overlook, named for the stream and campground that visitors can see below. Throughout the preserve, visitors can view the dominant feature of the surface of the Paleozoic plateau, including exposed limestone and sandstone bedrock. The area of the state is often described as the driftless region of Iowa, due to the belief that the region never experienced glaciation. However, small isolated areas of glacial drift did occur throughout the region during the pre-Illinoisan time period, roughly 500,000 years ago. Narrow V-shaped valleys, flanked by steep sloped bluffs, feature numerous rock outcrops and can be seen throughout the geographic landscape. Archaeological evidence points to human occupation of the area dating to at least 12,000 years ago in the Paleo-Indian period, and the area has been continuously occupied ever since. Evidence, including burial mounds, petroglyphs, and other archaeological evidence, shows a long and robust indigenous past for the area. The area undoubtedly hosted the Hopewell civilization, famous for extensive trade networks and conical burial grounds dating to over 2,000 years ago. These pieces of evidence are still visible today. Following the collapse of the Hopewell civilization, Oneota peoples, including the Dakota, Iowa, Winnebago, and Otto, as well as the Sauk and Meskwaki, came to occupy the area prior to Euro-American colonization. Many Siouan-speaking peoples in particular still maintain links to the area, including formal recognition of ties to Effigy Mounds National Monument, which was actually created out of Yellow River State Forest lands. Early European visitors to Iowa, most notably the Frenchmen Marquette and Joliet, undoubtedly passed near the more easterly units of the Yellow River State Forest in 1673, and the area saw intensive interaction between native peoples and early Euro-Americans centered at Prairie du Chien, particularly during treaties in 1825 and 1830. The first mission school built west of the Mississippi was located in today's Yellow River State Forest and was used to teach Ho-Chunk children as the tribe was forcibly removed from Wisconsin during the 1830s. By 1857, the railroad arrived in the area with the completion of the main line between McGregor and Harper's Ferry. During this time period, a transition from hardwoods to coal as a predominant fuel source for locomotives alleviated some strain on the forestry resources throughout the area. By 1935, funds appropriated by the federal government to support the Civilian Conservation Corps allowed for the original purchase, focused on the Yellow River Mississippi confluence. Originally, the land was primarily farmland and pasture that had been converted from forests, and early management during the 1930s focused on protection of the land from grazing, fire, and soil erosion. The Civilian Conservation Corps harvested timber for construction on state parks and other projects, notably at Pikes Peak, just to the south of the state forest. By the 1940s, most of the open land had been seeded for trees with the help of the United States Forest Service, and stands of large pine throughout the area today are the fruit of those efforts. Many different forest types can be seen throughout the Yellow River State Forest, but most notably are maple, basswood, oak hickory, and bottomland hardwood sections represent different tree species throughout the preserve. You can also see prairie species exhibited in specific areas. Maple basswood forests are most commonly found on north and east facing slopes and are largely comprised of sugar maple, basswood, white ash, red and white elm. Oak hickory forests occupy drier sites, including ridgetops and south and west facing slopes, and these forests contain red and white oak, red and white elm, bur oak, and hickory. Bottomlands forests, in the bottomlands along creeks and streams, feature red and white elm, green ash, cottonwood, and several other bottomland species. These trees grow out of 3 different soil types: Fayette silt loams, village silt loams, and Paint Creek silt loams. These dominate particularly the upland landscape, and these are deep soils that drain well and feature good water holding capacity and high fertility. By the time the forest was established and into the 1940s, 1946, a prison labor program began that's still in place today. And prisoners from Anamosa State Prison come and help with fencing, tree planting, harvesting, and operating the sawmill that was originally founded in the Paint Creek unit in 1947. The sawmill still operates today, and all the trees processed at the mill are harvested from state land and lumber used on state parks and wildlife areas. Some is sold, roughly $20,000 worth of lumber transferred to other DNR units, $10,000 or so sold to other units of government throughout Iowa. By 1949, 1,500 acres were transferred to the National Park Service to create Effigy Mounds National Monument. And then also during the 1950s and in the 60s, outdoor recreation really took off. And the state forest started to feature picnic areas, as well as a rental horse operation that was run at one point in time. The 1960s saw the implementation of multi-use management concepts, and representatives from fisheries management, game management, and forestry, all federal government agencies, convened to help guide the programming and development of the Yellow River State Forest during that decade. By the 1970s, a renewed interest throughout the United States tied to the rise of the environmental movement led to a greater need for forestry demonstration. Yellow River State Forest began to serve as an outdoor classroom to private landowners as well as individuals from within the forestry industry. As we continue to look at the Paint Creek unit, one of the things that stands out to people is the fire tower. Now, this is Iowa's final remaining fire towers, built in 1963. There are a series of observation towers throughout the state that many people in the original Notes on Iowa post comment about, maybe at Hitchcock Nature Center or some of the others. But those are observation towers. This is actually a specific type of structure called a fire tower. It's the only one left in Iowa. If you're visiting the Paint Creek unit, make sure to stop by, view the fire tower. You can't climb it today. It's enclosed with a barbed wire chain link fence, but a beautiful sight, and we can see in the drone footage what the views from up there might look like. Other units within the Yellow River State Forest also offer a variety of opportunities to visitors, including the Paint Rock unit. This unit's only 864 acres, is located about 3 miles south of Harper's Ferry, but its name is taken from figures painted by Iowa's indigenous peoples on a high limestone bluff overlooking the Mississippi River near the south end of the unit. Additionally, a Catholic parish located nearby is also known as Paint Rock. Visitors to the Paint Rock unit, please do not disturb the petroglyphs, don't touch them, don't chip them off, don't do anything but look if you're fortunate enough to find them. These are a vital historical and archaeological resource we want to make sure to protect. Just to the south of the Paint Rock unit is the Walk-On Junction unit. You can see a Celebrate Iowa 150 sign here that celebrates the town lives once here. In the unit at Walk-On Junction is 209 acres, located about 4 miles south of Harper's Ferry, and it was named for the once thriving community located at the foot of a bluff at the south end of the unit. The Mud Hen unit, I was unable to visit on the Notes on Iowa expedition here. It's 196 acres, all consisting of islands in the Mississippi River. It's only accessible by boat, and we don't have a Navy at Notes on Iowa just yet. But it's named for the ducks that inhabit the river islands and sloughs comprising the unit. A surprising unit during our visit was the Luster Heights unit. It's named for the Luster family, one-time owners of the property. It's about 770 acres and located 5 miles south of Harper's Ferry. And this unit provides exceptional views of the Mississippi River, particularly from the south overlook. And as you go into this unit, or if you look at the map that's included in the video here on the DNR website, you can see that there is some federal land within kind of the unit that appears to have some mounds, so make sure not to disturb those. but we really thought this unit is a great alternative maybe to Pikes Peak, which is located just to the south. And Pikes Peak State Park is incredibly popular. If you go to the overlooks there, it's a great park, lots of good trails and mounds and some of those other things. But Luster Heights unit, much less heavily trafficked and provides some incredible views of the Mississippi. The Yellow River unit, which is kind of the original focus of the park, is 1,227 acres and located south of Highway 76. It's got 3 miles of the 35-mile-long Yellow River Water Trail, so if you're a kayaking, canoeing enthusiast, this might be the unit for you. It does also feature a primitive ridgetop campsite, which is only accessible by canoe or kayak, and it's a carry-in or carry-out site. So if you choose to visit the Yellow River unit, make sure that you are carrying in, carrying out, and leaving things better than you found them. As we took a look at the Yellow River State Forest, we learned all sorts of things about Iowa's historic as well as environmental past, and we hope you'll take a visit up to northeastern Iowa and take a look yourself. Thanks for taking the time to check out Notes on Iowa and to check out the video. If you have comments, make sure to drop them either on the website or on Facebook. Please subscribe and follow on the different social media platforms or to the website, and we really appreciate all the insights people provide to Notes on Iowa. Thanks for watching.
There's a lot of good history about Iowa. A lot of people don't even know about it.